Welcome back. As you wake up this morning, there are three things of note you might want to consider here. One is that the water levels are going down on the Grand River, and the other two are that we have all our bridges and all our buildings still intact. And joining us here this morning is the mayor of Grand Rapids to talk a little bit about that. So what's the very latest information?
Well, good. Thanks, Brett. We got to stop meeting like this. But the good news is the river is crested, as you've reported, and it is going down. Of course, it's a long, slow process. There's a lot of water yet to clear out. The bridges are secure. We've been watching them through the night. We've been watching the flood walls. I'm very, very pleased with the way our flood walls protected us through Grand Rapids. As we flew over it in the Michigan State Police helicopter yesterday, you can see that north of Grand Rapids, south of Grand Rapids, banks are overflowed into neighborhoods. But through the city, for the most part, except for up around Riverside Park, flood walls protected us.
That's a good thing. And speaking of those, how fortuitous was it that the city added that extra foot of flood wall back in 2003 and spent all that money at the time?
Well, that was a $10 million investment. We were certainly glad we made it this week. As a matter of fact, it never got to the river never got to that point. It ended up staying a full 2.5 to 3 feet below the top of the wall, but that's a nice margin of error to have.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. So what's the latest on the bridge situation that you had run those railroad cars over the CSX bridge there to make sure that it was weighted down enough and wouldn't get washed away with the water? What do you know about that?
Right. Well, CSX actually was the one who ran the cars there, parked there. Fully loaded cars with salt on the bridge to stabilize it, to hold it in place as the floodwaters came up. The floodwaters, of course, hit the girders on the bottom. There was a lot of debris that accumulated there, but the bridge has held up, and with floodwater going down, we should be able to, check that one off as any concern.
What is next now for you and the city and for residents?
Well, we're still remaining vigilant. I mean, this crisis from a municipal standpoint isn't over yet. We still have to watch the points of vulnerability. We're processing claims for individuals that have had damage to their homes to see if they're entitled to any reimbursement. We continue to monitor the Fulton Street Bridge. As you know, Consumers Energy de-energized those 4 cables under the bridge, but there's still a lot of debris that could catch those cables or could catch the city's fiber optic cables under the bridge. So we're monitoring all of that. And then, of course, once the crisis has fully passed, we sit down and do our post-mortem. Maybe that's a bad choice of term this morning, but we have to see what we can do next time to make for further mitigation of damage.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate you coming out here, and hopefully this will be the last time that we meet this way at this hour. Mr. Mayor, I appreciate your time here.